Before the Walmart FLW Tour event on Pickwick Lake began, the question begged, could a 30-pound bag be caught in June? Greg Hackney answered that question today with a resounding yes. How about 31 pounds, 6 ounces? Greg, yesterday had 23, 24 pounds. I was impressed with that. Wow, that's just a mini bag compared to what happened today.
You know, it's just one of those deals, I can't even explain it. You know, going out today, like when I started catching them this morning, and they were a little slower about getting started, and I caught a lot of smaller fish, and finally caught a good one and another good one, and I was like, you know, if I can get me another 20 pounds here, I'd be grins and giggles with that, and it's just when I started catching the bigger ones, they were way bigger than my bigger ones yesterday. So, you know, I was like, when I got probably 25, I was like, you know what, I might as well stay and see if I can catch 30. And a couple casts later, they fired one more time, and I caught a couple big ones, like back-to-back, had a big one jump off, and it's like, that's enough. I don't know what you do now. You know, I mean, I can't go out and catch a 10-pound. I mean, you know, that's way more fish than I ever dreamed I could catch, you know. I mean, you don't know. You know, you find places in practice. I've done that before. Sometimes you think they're better than what they are. Then sometimes you don't think they're as good, and they turn out better. So, I mean, you know, that's fishing.
You've done this all your life. You ever been in a school of bass like the one you experienced today?
Only one other time have I ever, you know, found like one school like that was better, and that was at Falcon, and that's when I set the 3-day record. You know, they were all like 7 to 11s, you know. And again, that was the same deal. I pulled up on that spot and threw and caught a big one and threw again and shook another one off and didn't know how good it was until actually didn't even start on it, you know, and then go there and catch 40-pound bags off of it. And but kind of what the deal is here, I only had a couple places. And this was the first one in the rotation, you know. So yesterday I started on it, and it turned out good. And like today, you know, everything I caught came off of it. I actually found another little school today that I was kind of impressed with. I caught a good one, like a 4.5 pounder I didn't need, and I got off of it. But you know, it's one of those deals. It's just day by day. You know, you know, there's a way to catch the bigger ones, and I'm hoping I figured that out, because when they're biting, you can catch them. And then I can do the right thing, and I don't catch anything but the big ones. Like, you know, when it goes down, it is as awesome fishing as it gets. I mean, and I'm power fishing, so.
Is it any company around? I mean,
No, not really. There was one other guy yesterday that fished the place a little bit, and he was there this morning when I got there, and he fished around a little while. When I really went to catching him, he just backed off and, you know, went fishing, you know, and which he's that kind of guy, and I kind of expected that out of him. Once I really got to catching him, you know, he rolled off.
In your opinion, is this an overlooked school? Is it?
Without a doubt, because they're on a place they probably shouldn't be. Okay. But I think that's what saved them. You know, I think this is I've yet to catch one. I haven't caught one that I've caught before, and I haven't caught one that's been caught before. That's what's amazing about this whole deal. So I know these fish, for whatever reason, they're there. I mean, the reason they're there is the right type of bait is getting there too, but they're just kind of on a very, I mean, just kind of an unobvious deal. And it's not a serious piece of structure either. It's just kind of a real subtle piece. And but I think these guys have gotten so good with their electronics, whether it's the locals, the guys in this, I mean, you know, this group is so good. Everything that's good, they find it. So I think the fish have started to migrate. You know, they're starting to get on that out of the way kind of stuff. It's don't really look real appealing, and you know, to get away from the anglers, because this month, I mean, I'm telling you, it was hard to practice. There's somebody on every good piece of structure, you know, down the river this week.
Is it current related, or can you catch them no matter what the current's doing?
Well, you know, I've been really fortunate. I've caught them without the current. Like today, when they finally turned the water on, I was done. You know. But it's a timing deal, and you got to be. It goes down pretty quick, and when it does, you have to be ready right then to make the lure change. I mean, I caught them there on a dozen different baits, but it's just a couple that are producing the big ones.
Michael, a lot of guys been complaining about, oh, I can't get a spot. There's somebody on my spot. You know, I can't get on the school right. You just have seemed to have no problem with that whatsoever. Everywhere you went today, you caught fish. It just seems so effortless for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've found some spots that are kind of off the wall, I guess, or a little bit out of the way from the community places. So looking forward to getting out there tomorrow, and there'll be a lot less boats, so I can get on some of the community stuff in addition to what I've been fishing.
Do you feel like what you have that's different, is it a presentation, or is it actually a different spot on the, like, you know what I mean? Is it area difference or is it bait difference?
I think it's just area. I think it's being able to pull up on a school of fish that haven't been messed with in a few hours. Like the last time that they were messed with is when I caught them. So by the time I get ready to go back and catch them again, they're ready to bite.
Right. And it's just kind of a, you know, everywhere you were today, you were by yourself, but you could look around over your shoulder 100 yards off, big community school.
Yeah, I mean, they're, like I said yesterday, they're community for a reason. Those areas are going to have the most fish. Wherever a community place is offshore, that's where a vast majority of your fish are going to live all year long. So, I mean, that's where you go look when they're shallow, you go look when they're deep, regardless of what the weather is.
Now, I know you got to 24 today, and you're probably like, hey, this is a good catch. I'm going to start managing these a little bit. You come in, and Hackney has 31. What goes through your mind at that point?
Yeah, it's a little disappointing, but we'll have to see if he can do it again. I laid off my fish today about 11:30. I started catching some 4-pounders that weren't helping, so I decided to just go play around and try and catch a big one the rest of the day, and it never happened.
You're here to go to the distance.
Yeah, I'm here to go the distance. I feel like I shouldn't have a problem catching 20 a day for the next 2 days. Now, since I said that, I probably won't, but that's the way I feel. I feel like that shouldn't be a problem for 2 more days.
Brent, much better day for you. What did you figure out to get those going?
I'm guessing it was current. I know that they're running a lot of current this morning. You know, I kind of fine-tuned a few areas. I had some motor issues yesterday, and I was scared to run. I mean, I was able to run fine, but I was just scared to run. Okay. And I had something happen. I hit something, you know, prior to this, and it finally started to do something, you know, and so I got scared. And you know, so today I was able to kind of run where I wanted to run. I actually caught them on the right spot. I caught several good ones early, and I button hooked. I ran past it, and I spun real quick to come back to it. And I mean, I caught them like crazy on this spot, all big ones, you know. And then I ran from there, and I ended up culling out about 4 of the big ones I caught there. So, you know, it had to be the current, because it just seemed like, you know, yesterday when you fish a spot, you wouldn't really catch one, or you might catch one. It just didn't look right. Today, I mean, you could pull up and catch one on your first cast.
Did it matter which bait? I mean, was it bait specific for you?
Not really. You know, each spot, it seemed like what bait you threw first would get the bite. It's kind of
it on that spot.
Yeah, you might be able to catch 1 or 2 more. You know, in the morning when it's dark, you can get a flurry and you can catch more than one. Or you start catching those smaller ones, kind of like typically what you hear here. You catch the bigger ones first, and then the smaller ones bite after that. But you know, you can leave. The nice thing about tomorrow is that, you know, people won't be fishing spots. I have a lot of spots that I didn't fish that are out of the way that I don't think anybody's fishing.
Okay.
And so I'm hoping that, you know, I can catch them on some of the better spots, and then, you know, if I need to, I'll run to some of those out of the way spots that haven't been hit, and, you know, hopefully cull up.
Have you been more in a crowd, working around a crowd, or have you been more to yourself?
Hit or miss. Yesterday I caught almost all of them by myself. And then today I fished around a few people, you know, here and there. And it's just, once everybody kind of filters out in the middle of the day, it's kind of hard to get on a spot. Someone will be there, you know, or you might have to wait until somebody leaves, and then you can run over and fish a spot. But even then, you know, if it rests, it seems like you could catch one. But if you pull in right after somebody, you might have to work for a long time before you can catch one. And it's just, they don't want to bite when people are sitting on top of them and the transducer clicking on them and everything. So it seems like if they can rest, you can catch them.
It's part of the strategy to get in a spot where you can keep an eye on other spots and kind of see what's resting, what's had pressure. I mean, waiting for something to open up.
It would definitely help if you could do that. You know, a lot of my spots you can't see. You know, a few of them I could see. I watched 1 or 2 spots today that no one was on and haven't been on it all week, and I haven't even touched them yet, so I'm kind of anxious to see what's down there. There may not be anything, but it sure seems like when I pull up to one of those spots that I found that was just kind of average in practice, I can catch a big one, you know, or several big ones. But, you know, who knows? I mean, I've fished a bunch of places that I thought were going to be really good and weren't, and the places that weren't very good have been really good. So, it'll be hard. You know, it's hard to say what's going to happen tomorrow, but I don't know what the current's going to do. It sure seemed like they bit. I mean, I know there's a bunch of big stringers today. Something was going on. You know, it should have gotten worse because of the pressure, but when things start flowing, they start to bite.
Historically, in the beginning of your career, TVA was kind of a little rough patch for you, but you're really getting this dialed in. It seems like you're really starting to understand how these fish set up now.
A little bit. It's not necessarily how they set up. It's just finding the right spots to fish. And, you know, everything I find with, you know, the Ranger, Mercury, and Humminbird. I mean, that's how I find everything. And I mean, total for 3 days of practice, I probably fished 3 hours. And, you know, just finding those areas and just finding the places that have the fish. And there's a lot of dead water out there. And, you know, when you find them, it seems like they really group up, you know, pretty strong here.
Jason, we haven't had a chance to come spy on you on the water yet this week. Just give me a little bit of idea. Are you out there on those ledges rotating around with everybody else? Did you find something to yourself?
You know, I found some stuff to myself. You know, when I hear first day of practice, you know, everything's obvious on the map. You know, it's Tennessee River. This place fish is small, even though it's 55 miles long. I don't like fishing in crowds. I like to look at my electronics, and I'm good at finding stuff that's, you know, kind of out of the way. And that's what I've done this week, and I found quite a few places that the fish are there, and they're replenishing, you know, big time. And, you know, I've really not pressured anything that I've got. I'm just running around just trying to stay hid, pulling up, catching me a few, cull a few, and just go on.
How many spots do you have that are like that?
I've got about 18 places that's like that. So.
Would you want to give a depth of water, or you rather not say right now?
You know.
I understand. Not a problem, not a problem. Of the 18 places, is there one that's any better than the other? I mean, you got one that you can just whip them, or is it just two or three here?
You know, it's I've got one today that I hadn't hit yet in the tournament, and I pulled up on it this afternoon late, and I had a pretty good bag. And, you know, I figured I had enough to make till tomorrow, so I fired in there, and I caught 4 or 5 pounders on back-to-back casts. So I just went ahead and left them and come on in. Okay. All right. So.
Does current play a role in what you're doing?
Absolutely not. It does not bother me at all where I'm at. I mean, yeah, you know, current always helps on the Tennessee River, but where I'm at, I mean, I'm on the river channel regardless, but current is not affecting these fish much at all.
One specific bait going on? Is it a bait deal, or you just rotating baits?
I'm using big baits. Okay. Really big baits. Extremely large baits.
You don't have to mess with 12 and 13 inchers that way?
No. And you know, and the big baits that I'm using, I'm not using any light line, you know, and I'm throwing big crankbaits, but, you know, I'm throwing 17 and 20 pound fluorocarbon on these big baits. You know, and the primary forage is gizzard shad right now. The gizzard shad are up spawning, and that's key right now. And they spawn on a certain deal right now, and when they're up there, they're chewing.
I get a feeling you're pretty excited about going fishing tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
Troy, rookie on tour, this is what you dream about right here. I mean, this is the moment you've hung in there all year for the moment you just experienced. Tell me what it's like on Pickwick out there.
Man, it's awesome. You know, I learned how to fish on the Tennessee River, Rob, so this is what I do. I mean, this is what I live, die, and breathe for. So I knew these last two were going to be huge for me. But I got my head kicked in by these guys the first 4 tournaments. So I guess that knowing this at the end of the season was coming helped keep me through. And just, you know, it's hard fishing against these guys. These guys are so good. They make such good decisions. So, you know, I can trust my instincts on these last 2. So that's what I've done. So it's awesome.
Have you had to fish in a crowd here? Have you got something to yourself? Are you going ring around the rosies with other guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably running around like an idiot, Rob. I've got...
How many places?
I ran through probably 30 today. There's just there's so much pressure. Like, if we can let some schools rest, you can get them fired up and you can catch big ones. So I was lucky and had a late flight today, so I got to run through some stuff that had been resting for just a little bit. But I got one deal that I've not seen anyone fish for. A
spot or a bait or what?
I've got one spot, man. It's like one cast, and I've caught my 2 big ones there each day. So,
have you pressured it very much, or have you laid off?
I've probably spent a total of 20 minutes there in the tournament. Okay. So it's like a hop in, catch an 8 or 9 pounder, and leave. Okay. So I don't know what's there. I mean, I've only getting one bite, but it's just typical where a big one would feed.
You're probably ready to mash the gas on that spot, though.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe just keep coming back and forth because it's just such a unique place. You know, it's not a place where you can get them fired up. It's just a straight feeding place. Okay. So you've got to go and come back, go and come back. The only problem is the other schools I have are about 35 miles away. So
a lot of boat gas.
Yeah, I filled up, and I think I have a quarter of a tank left.